Well, hey everybody, it's Reed Banger, and I'm here with Nick Blair. We're down in Wichita, Kansas, visiting Larry Hacker, owner and president of Kansas Paving. Larry, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Well, why don't you tell me a little bit about how your journey started with us?
The way it started was I started with a different vendor, and it was not very well. It was a bad experience, and I was sitting at home on a Sunday night, and I started searching for people that did Sage Intact, and I located your company. And at that point, I sent an invite out, and we set up a meeting. And you guys called me the next morning. We sat down and went through everything. And you said, I need to have a meeting tomorrow with Lisa. And so the next morning, you guys called me. We had a Zoom. Lisa looked at my stuff and she goes, I know exactly what's wrong. And she did.
Yeah.
She really did. She went through it and she told me what we had going on, and it's what I thought. And after that, I signed with you guys.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best things I ever did, because my accounting was, for about 2.5 years, was about as bad as it could get.
And obviously impacted your business quite a bit too.
It impacted a lot because I wasn't able to get some of my bonding situated fast enough, because we didn't balance. There was stuff that when they did the switch over, it just didn't work. It was just bad.
Yeah. How did this all start? How did you start Kansas Paving?
I started Kansas Paving in 1990, and I started with one dump truck and a pickup, and I had about 5 employees.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we just started doing city work and just started doing more and more. And we grew it to where we have about 250 employees now.
Wow. And I mean, all sorts of paving, concrete, asphalt, I assume.
Yeah, we have 2 asphalt plants. We have 2 concrete plants. Actually, we have 3 concrete plants now. But we do a lot of city work and county work and even state work.
And I mean, how did you get into the business in general?
I worked for another company that I worked for about 5 years, and then decided I wanted to go on my own.
Did you just were you like, I think I can do things better? Or did you just wanted to be your own boss?
I mean, I knew I could do better because I cared to what I did, and I was really pushy to make sure that we did stuff right. We did good work.
I was going to ask you, what's the driving force? What keeps you going?
That's a tough one. I just like what I do, so I keep doing it.
You wake up every day and you're excited to come in the office, excited to go to work.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me to come to work. You know, I'm not like some people say, hey, I hate going to work. That's not me. Yeah. I like going to work. I like challenges. I like to get done what I need to do.
When you're in a situation where you can't get the numbers out, you can't trust your data, tell me about the feeling. How does that feel? And also, what do you do?
Well, me, I knew my numbers were skewed, because I could tell from my prior experiences and stuff. I could tell exactly, because our work was pretty well about the same, and I could just feel it. I knew it wasn't right. And the way they set me up, they tried to set me up with that deferred revenue and things. And for a contractor, that's not how they set you up. You have to do over and unders on your work.
So Lisa came in. She worked her CPA magic. I guess tell me about the initial experience of working with us. Obviously, we got on the horn right away, but how has it been in the months since?
Well, she's great. She knows her stuff, and she goes through it, and she figured out exactly what was going on. So, because she started us in about May, probably by the end of September to October, she had everything fixed, everything working. Was showing me how to do the working process at that point. It's a little different than what I was used to doing, but it works, and it's very accurate. It's good.
And as an owner, I mean, are you kind of finally seeing, okay, here's the investment that I made, and this I'm finally getting the return on it?
Yes, I am. At first, I mean, with the other vendor, I actually looked to get rid of Sage Intacct.
Yeah.
Because it was so stressful how to figure out how to make it work and the way it was going. And I even looked to go back to the company that I was with before. And I'm glad that I didn't, because what I have now is working really good.
That's good. I mean, Nick and I always talk about, just we have a bunch of customers on the, kind of legacy solutions like you were, and that transition obviously can be difficult, right? But what would you say to somebody who's, looking to, hey, I want to get a cloud product like Sage Intacct. I know it can move my business forward.
I would tell them that if you don't go with Bangert, you shouldn't do it. I'm telling you, because it's a good experience.
Great. Yeah, I mean, that ethos has been with this company since 1983 when my grandpa and my dad started it. I mean, just that the driving force is, we want to do right by our customers, and ultimately we want 100% happy customers. And so that's led to, us bringing people like Lisa on board. If you haven't worked with Mike yet, or Sarah or Crystal, those types of folks, eventually you will, and they're have the same mindset. They want to see people in a good spot with them.
I had a couple Zoom meetings with Mike, I believe, and I could tell he cares at what he does. Yeah.
And all experienced in construction, and particularly commercial construction, and it's a different beast. It's a different animal. There's different. One of our customers up in Ames, Iowa, they said, well, we like to think construction accounting's harder than other types of accounting. Yeah, and they're probably right.
I can tell you, my office, when I come in and said, hey, we're going to switch to Bangert, and they go, what are you getting us into now? Because they were not happy.
They're at the end of their rope.
They were all at the end of the ropes. I was at the end of my rope. It was tough.
Yeah.
But it's one of the best decisions we've ever made.
That's awesome.
Tell us about your team. Who are some of the heroes on your team for this process?
Kelly Greaves, she works in the payables and the receivables. And then Lori, she is our payables gal, and she also does receivables. And they're both really good.
Internally, have you seen improvement in your culture almost, now that you guys are on the other side of this?
Yeah, they like to take off a little bit more now because they're not so stressed.
Good.
Which is okay. When things are good, they're good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Have you gotten in much into like the automation stuff with Intacct or any of that yet?
No, I tell you, we're just getting ready to do paperless. I've talked to you guys a little bit about that, but Cassie, that works for us, she just had a baby and she just returned today's her first day back. And we told her we wouldn't switch without her being here because she's one that she's got to know everything and make sure it works good. So
it sounds like you have a great team and people who are sharp. And what's their feedback been to you about using Intacct as opposed to your legacy system?
Well, they like it because the company we were using, we actually had one database for ready mix, one for paving. So what happens was you had to go put it in two different spots. So if you put a vendor in, you put it in both companies. Yeah. This one, you can go to the top level, you put the vendor in one time. And I'll be honest, top level, I didn't like it at first.
Yeah.
I like it now, but at first, it just doesn't seem to me like that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, it takes
It was a change, and I'm kind of one, I don't like change. I like to perfect what we got and stay with it.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those things that it takes a little bit of adjustment, but now I'm sure that you can see all of your companies, in one spot. That's got to be valuable, right?
Yeah, I can go in and I can look on my dashboard and I can see how much cash I have in the bank for all the companies together. I can go separate it. I can look at that and, didn't have that before. Yeah. It's really good.
You're obviously owner and president, right? But you're using Intacct yourself. It's not just your accounting team that's using it. So day to day, when we get done with this, this interview here, what are you going to do on Intacct today to try and manage and run your company?
I'll go look and see, what's changed, because I catch myself doing that all the time. And I just see how much money we had come in, what we've had to pay out. I just look at all that.
And getting that information now in Intacct versus your legacy system, how does that compare?
Well,
readily available.
it's more readily available and it's easy to look at. It's just a lot quicker.
Yeah, you were telling us a story about how the first time, you got your, I think in your old system, maybe the first year you had it or something like that, it was like it basically stopped counting at a certain point, right?
Yeah, I bought ProfitWise, and I think I paid $350 for the software because I was just getting started. When I hit $1 million in revenue, it just kind of locked up, and it wanted me to upgrade. So then I upgraded, and next thing I went to Solomon, and then I went to from like 3.1 to 4.0, went all the way up, I think, to like 15 something. Yeah. So we just kept experiencing, just kept upgrading.
We run into situations a lot where ownership actually doesn't look at the numbers as maybe as they should, or actually get inside of the system. They're so reliant on, people maybe printing them a report or something like that to look at. I mean, for you, to other owners out there, what would you say to those guys?
See, I don't have people print my reports. I actually get in and look at the reports and print them myself. And I just more hands-on, I think.
That hands-on approach, does it serve you well?
Yeah, it lets me know what's going on all the time. I can tell. And that's like when we switched, I'm sitting there going, all right, I don't think that they did some of my conversion accurate. This is before you guys. It was with the other company. And I'm going, I can see they made mistakes. This isn't working. And then they kept saying, well, how do you know? Well, I know because I can feel it. I can see it. I know what my numbers were before. My numbers are changing. Now they're where they work.
Right.
After you guys come along and got me fixed.
It's awesome.
We have a lot of people who are looking at Intacct or considering it for the first time. What would you tell them about Sage Intacct? And then what would you tell them about Bangert's process called Bangert deployment?
I tell them to call me because I've been through the experience and I know what you're going to get with Bangert's deployment. I was so impressed when I started looking and you had video after video after video of different things that when you deal with other people, you ask them questions and they'll start trying to work on it. And then they'll come back and say, well, hang on, that's not working right. Give us a minute. So then they'll go spend some time to try to figure out, why it's not working. Well, usually it's because it's a setup problem that they've done and where you guys already have it figured out and already doing it. So when you guys do your deployment and we look at the videos, it's already proven how it works. That's great.
That was the core. I mean, when we started this process, 7 years ago now. I mean, and it's really been, we published our first YouTube video in 2009.
So how many do you have now?
We have over 1,400. So
that's good.
And of course we had a long period of time where we didn't really publish much, but the past 3 years, especially the past 7 years, when we started this thing, that was Kurt, our founder, president, owner. I mean, one of the main things he said is he asked us the question, why the heck are we charging for everything we charge for? Why are we doing this build by the hour approach? Why aren't we giving our knowledge away for free? And so that's when we started really building up that YouTube, just because we knew that there was going to be folks like you who go out there, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and our YouTube could be a relief. We know that our YouTube channel helps people that never give us a call, and that's okay with us. We're helping the general community learn the product, and for us, that makes all the difference in the world.
Well, if they don't call you, that's their mistake.
I clearly from your experience and from others too. Yes, that's I think there's just so much pride that our team takes in their knowledge, and they've all had long careers in construction, and specifically in construction accounting, and specifically with construction project managers. And so, when you're put into a situation where you may be, handed some folks that don't know much about construction, maybe they know a lot about accounting, but they don't know much about what your business is actually doing on a day-to-day basis, it becomes real lost in translation, and those heads can butt pretty quickly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, we've hired folks over the years that, they have a strong accounting background, but maybe not so much in construction. And you're trying to bring them up on that aspect. And it's actually funny because it would almost be easier to teach people, the accounting aspect if they know construction, because at least they understand the lingo. But, and so, therefore, we're able to produce content that helps people like you.
Yeah.
I think some people see our deployment process and they see our YouTube presence and our website as well. And they start to think, oh, maybe I'm going to be doing this on my own, right? Maybe I'll be doing a self-deployment and I'm not going to be working one-on-one with actual people. Can you speak to that fear that some potential customers might have?
Yeah, because after I started working with you guys, when they told me that, hey, we've got you in a good spot, that we're going to have you start getting a hold of someone else, and I go, I don't know if I want to, because it's been really good. But I'll tell you what, it's a good thing. It really is a good thing. And you guys have enough people, I believe, there that it works out really well, because they're all an expert in what they do.
Did you find you had a lot of one-on-one with our consultants when you were troubleshooting, but then also going through the deployment process?
Yeah, what we did was, between Lori, Kelly, and myself, the three of us was always getting on and doing Zoom meetings with Lisa, and it went really well. And when she got done, she explained to you what she was doing and how it worked, and we understood it. And then she'd tell us, now, and be sure and go watch these videos, and so you kind of catch yourself. We didn't watch them as much because we were already using the system. We just weren't really using it right.
Yeah.
But she got us lined out.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, what we found is that there's this balance between personal interaction and, basically things that we've automated, which are our videos, right? Where you can go in and you can learn the foundational concept of something, but then you can join a Q&A every day and, get a hold of our team. The one-on-one combined with that automation is what really, if our customers take full advantage of it and they invest in it like you have, they're successful. We have a 98% success rate when people do that.
Yeah. See, I haven't personally done the Q&A.
You should.
Myself, and I need to.
You should.
You can get on one today. 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah. No, I plan to do it but I haven't done it myself yet.
Yeah. It's good. I recommend, everybody does it, just because, the funniest thing is, I remember when we first announced we were going to do Q&A, there was a bunch of pushback internally. Oh, that won't work. Customers don't want to be on with other customers. Like it just won't work. There's no way it would possibly work. And what we found is that is the number one thing that folks who go through our deployment, they rave about, is our Q&As. Because they're like, hey, we'll just hop on there and we learn something from somebody else. We don't even have any questions. We just learn it from them. So that's been a super, super valuable tool for us.
See, I come in Saturday, and since your upgrade was there,
yeah,
I got on and started to look, and I got into doing something else, and I didn't finish. Well, I had to run up here yesterday, which was Sunday. So I got up here, and first thing I did, I went and turned it on. And I started looking at that to see what was on there, because I know there's something there that we're going to need and we're going to use.
Oh yeah, we're going to start, I think, hosting some couple one-offs about all of the AI that's coming out in Intacct, and that stuff is really, really cool. Just the basic stuff like GL outlier detection, which if you've got an GL account that has more debits and credits than usual, it'll let you know, and give you kind of an alert for that. But then also just you'll be able to chat with your data too. So it's going to be pretty cool what they've got coming out with their Copilot.
I saw the Copilot, but I didn't understand it yet.
Yeah, I think we're gonna host some things over the next couple months just to get people a better understanding of what it is and its capabilities, how to turn it on, how to get access, all that kind of stuff. Because it's definitely going to be game changing for Sage Intacct and for the industry as a whole.
Yeah, it's a good product.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you were, of course, on a legacy product for a long time. And why'd you switch to Intacct in the first place? Why are you even interested in that system?
They told me that I'd been on it so long that it was going to be kind of done away with.
Okay.
and that they wanted me to switch, and they wanted me to look at some different ones. And so we looked at the Sage Intacct. That's one we decided to go ahead and go with because that's what they recommended too. I didn't realize they just didn't know enough about it to be able to even implement it. Sure. Because they had 3 different people try to implement it, and they would leave because they couldn't get it right.
Yeah.
So we come to you guys, and guess what? You guys knew how to implement it, knew how to make it work, got us working.
Yeah, we're in a spot, in 2022 where we stopped sales completely to totally re-engineer our process. So like for 6 months, we weren't selling anything. We just stopped because we knew that was the only way that we were going to transition to a new way of deployment, a new way of doing business, and a new model. And so we stopped selling for 6 months, and we come back online, and our first couple of customers provided some fantastic feedback on our process, and I think we're on version 3.0 of it now. But we asked our team recently, hey, would you guys go back and do it the old way? Which was, if you would have bought from us, it would have been, okay, assign you a consultant, and that's the only person you work with, and you work with them once a week, and it's that standard cadence versus an all hands on deck approach that we have now. And they're like, where's the door? Because we'll be exiting out of it.
Yeah. When I was working with the other company, we would have a meeting once a week, and we would go through stuff that we were working on.
Yeah.
Okay. When we'd get done with that meeting, they'd say, okay, next week we'll have it all done to go over again. They never had it done.
Yeah.
So we were going over it again, and then we would do it again, and we just weren't getting anything completed. With you guys, when we started looking at something, oh yeah, we do this, and this, and it's done. That was amazing how it worked. I mean, we just didn't see that with the other vendor.
It's a testament to that time they've spent obviously investing in understanding the product, but also just how we go about doing things too. I think the whole, what Nick's talking about is our deployment. So when somebody comes, net new to us and they're starting on Intacct for the first time, well, a lot of that's largely automated. So you go through coursework and live classes and all that kind of stuff. But what it does is it allows our team to spend more time on more complex problems like yours. And that's the type of work they really enjoy anyway. So I'm glad you brought the problem to us.
Well, I'm glad you guys were there to help us.
Yeah.
I think Lisa probably had a good time working through all that stuff. I know they love those kind of complex problems, and they always get real excited whenever someone brings a question up that they got to think about for a second.
She don't think very long. She figures it out.
She's a doer.
She's good.
That's good.
Yeah, that she is.
What else?
I think you about got it, really.
Well, Larry, can you think of anything else? We got Larry's cell phone across the bottom of the screen. So if you want to buy Sage Intacct today,
we said call him. So.
I'm telling you, I would tell them about my good experience.
That's good.
Yeah. It really was a good experience, and I'm not sorry that I did it. I was sorry when I called you originally that I did it, but I'm not now.
That's great.
Yeah.
How many years do you think you're going to be on Intacct now, looking into the future?
I don't know. Probably till, I'll be gone and done before they get off of it.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah. Our average customer age is 19 years. So.
Well, I started with the other one when I was in 1990.
Yeah.
So I went all the way up to about 21 by the time we tried to implement some stuff.
So almost 30 years.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about it was, I told my staff, I said, we're not going to implement until we know it works.
Yep.
Well, we made a mistake because we already had the third person trying to get it implemented. And he comes up and he says, hey, I'm leaving. And he said, we have to implement you or you're not going to get it implemented. And it come down to that. And he said, I feel really good that everything's going to work and it's going to be fine. Well, it wasn't fine.
Yeah.
Wasn't fine. And after about 2.5 months, I said, I think I need to jump off this and jump back to the old system because I don't feel comfortable with it. Oh, you need to just trust us. You need to give us a chance to get through it. Well, we kept going through it and it just didn't get better until after we found you guys. And when you guys come along, then everything got really well and worked good.
That's great. Well, another successful YouTube fan. I think you're a YouTube fan at this point, right?
Oh, yeah.
But another successful story using the Bangor deployment method in Sage Intacct. I'm Reed Bangor. This is Nick Blair. Larry, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.